Mental incompetence in contracts. What happens when someone who lacks the mental capacity to fully understand their actions enters into a legal agreement? This complex issue has significant implications in contract law and requires careful consideration to protect vulnerable individuals while maintaining the integrity of contractual obligations. When a mentally incompetent person enters into a contract, the agreement may be voidable, or in some cases, enforceable. The outcome depends on various factors, including the individual's legal status, the nature of the contract, and the circumstances under which it was signed. Mental incompetence in legal terms is not simply a matter of opinion. It must be officially declared by a court. When a person has been legally declared mentally incompetent, any contract they enter into is automatically void. In such cases, a court-appointed guardian is typically the only one who can enter into contracts on their behalf. However, the situation becomes more nuanced when dealing with individuals who have not been officially declared incompetent. Courts use several tests to assess mental capacity in these cases. The cognitive test evaluates whether the person understands the nature and consequences of the contract. The affective test considers if the individual can make rational decisions free from delusions or severe emotional impairments. The motivational test examines whether the person can act in their own best interest. Some jurisdictions employ the appreciate effects test, which determines if the person understands what they are involved in and can appreciate the contract's consequences. Others use the control test, which measures whether an individual can control their behavior, regardless of their understanding of the contract. Contracts signed by mentally incompetent individuals generally fall into three categories. First, a void contract occurs when a court has already declared the individual incompetent before they signed. Second, a voidable contract can be invalidated at the request of the mentally incompetent person if they can prove they lacked capacity at the time of signing. Third, an enforceable contract may exist if the individual signed during a lucid interval and fully understood the implications of the agreement. Special considerations apply to minors, who are generally considered to lack the capacity to enter into contracts. Most contracts signed by individuals under 18 are voidable. However, exceptions exist for necessities like food, shelter, and medical care. Some states also allow minors to enter into certain types of agreements, such as employment contracts or educational loans. For individuals with mental incapacity, the law provides protections to prevent exploitation. If a person is unable to fully understand and comprehend their legal rights and responsibilities in a contract, they are not legally capable of entering into that agreement. This safeguard helps ensure that vulnerable individuals are not taken advantage of in contractual situations. When a person has been declared mentally incompetent, a court-appointed guardian or legal representative may act on their behalf in contractual matters. These representatives have the authority to enter into contracts for the individual and can also seek to void contracts that were signed during periods of incapacity. They are bound by legal and fiduciary duties to act in the best interests of the person they represent. It is important to note that mental incapacity is not always a permanent condition. Some individuals may experience temporary periods of incapacity due to illness, medication, or other factors. Contracts entered into during lucid intervals may be considered valid if it can be proven that the person was fully aware of the deal, its consequences, and the reason for creating the contract at that time. Fraud, coercion, and undue influence can further complicate contractual agreements involving mentally incompetent individuals. If it can be shown that a vulnerable person was manipulated, pressured, or deceived into signing a contract, courts may declare the agreement void. This could involve scenarios such as a caregiver exerting undue influence, someone providing false information to deceive the individual, or using threats to force them into an agreement. In conclusion, the intersection of mental incompetence and contract law is a complex area that requires careful consideration of individual circumstances. While the law provides protections for vulnerable individuals, it also recognizes the need to balance these safeguards with the principles of contract enforcement. Understanding these legal implications is crucial for both protecting the rights of mentally incompetent individuals and maintaining the integrity of contractual agreements in our society.